let's watch this. I want to show you guys. I didn't even know this existed. I think Tristian Tate, Andrew Tate's bro, was on Rich Cooper's show. That's the voices I think I hear in the back. Somebody asked him straight up, like, what do you think is the best martial art for self-defense? Honest question. And Tristian gave an honest answer. And he says we debated about it, but I mean, we had a back and forth on Twitter. And it's a matter of just misunderstanding. I think a lot of people who say boxing's better, say striking's better, all come from the same premise. They've never studied jiu-jitsu. They've never studied grappling. They don't understand even what is meant when I say grapple, when you grapple somebody. Most of them think primarily right away, mostly because they don't have any grappling experience. They go right to jiu-jitsu and submission stuff on the ground. They go to takedowns on the ground, taking somebody down like a wrestling match. You hit a double leg and now you're on the ground on top of them trying to pin them. That's what a lot of people who don't understand wrestling or don't follow grappling at all think of when you say grappling. That's not all there is to grappling. There's a lot more to grappling. Anytime you're in a clinch, anybody who's trained Muay Thai and done Muay Thai clinches and thrown elbows is trained grappling. That's grappling. Clinch work is grappling. If you're hand fighting, head fighting, trying to get positions, to throw knees, to throw elbows, you're grappling. Congratulations, you're grappling. You do not have to hit the ground. Your knees do not have to touch the ground in order for you to be grappling. I can hand fight positions. I can neck wrestle. That's grappling. We're going to listen to what he says. I will reboot what he's saying.
Lucas says, would you agree with Andrew regarding boxing being the best martial art to master for self-defense? What's your telling on self-defense on the street?
Boxing is the best martial art for self-defense. It is. Don't let anyone tell you jiu-jitsu is.
I'm telling you.
Everyone talks about jiu-jitsu. My friend, I had a debate with a guy who I super respect, Jon Fitch, who is a more accomplished fighter than me. And he kept saying jiu-jitsu is good for self-defense. I'm like, my friend, I'm from England. Someone is going to stab you.
This is where one of the misconception is. You're going to grapple or use jiu-jitsu. You're on the ground. And first off, yes, people have knives in England. They have knives. And you have to be careful not to get stabbed. But I'll tell you what, if I clinch and I'm controlling you and I'm controlling your wrist and your arms, you're not going to be able to access your weapon. Two, he's also right about some other things that we'll go into in a second with them having friends. So I don't need to go to the ground, first off. I can clinch you. I can subdue you by tying up your arms in a clinch. I've done it before. I've done it in training. We've done knife training. Put the knife in somebody or somebody secretly hides a knife on them. We begin training. We have objectives and goals to restrain people or win the fight, and somebody will pull the knife. If you can control the wrists and hands, elbows, if you can subdue them with those means, takes away the ability of them to use that knife. But more importantly, if guys have a knife, if a guy has a knife and you try to box him, you're going to get stabbed. If you try to box somebody in the street, then you're just as likely to get stabbed. You're just as likely to have somebody use the knife on you. This is my argument against boxing in self-defense. If you are far enough away to somebody to throw punches at them, you are far enough away from that person to leave. If you're far enough away to throw punches and kicks, okay, you have enough space in between you to leave. There's no reason for you to engage in that fight at all. Unless you are pinned and cornered, there's absolutely no reason for you to engage in that fight. Leave. Start creating even more space. As you create the space, look to put something in between you and that person. They start running their mouth, start circling away. Put a tree in between you and them. Put a car in between you and them. Put a light post in between you and them. Make noise. Try to get other people around you to come and help. Do not engage. Don't box them. Do not box them. It's not going to go well. If you get knocked out, what's going to happen then? They'll stab you while you're unconscious. It's not a good idea. You can flee if you can fight. If you can throw punches, if you can box, you can flee. If you're forced into a position that you cannot flee, you need to force clinch. You force clinch, you dominate the clinch, you subdue them by tying up the hands or putting them on the ground, snapping them down. I'm not going to hit the ground with them. I'm not going to hit a double leg. I'm not going to touch my knee to the ground. I'm going to snap them to the ground. I want their hands on the ground. I'll trip them so they fall down to the ground. Fight to a clinch, fight to a 2-on-1 position, two-on-one position. Try to get their hand to the mat. If they fight that, I can trip them and push them back the other direction. They fall and roll on their back. I can go to get away. I'm not clinching. I'm not holding on to him and hugging him and taking him to the ground. I'm not going to shoot a double leg and keep him on the ground. We watched Renzo Gracie. I had a learn to fight video with Renzo Gracie in a situation where he was doing jiu-jitsu on the ground. I said very explicitly, that works in that situation because Renzo had two friends with him. He had two guys, at least two guys with him that you could see in the video. Because at one point, the guy he was grappling with had a girlfriend and she started grabbing Renzo's shirt and pulling on it. Right? That could have been a problem. That could have been somebody stabbing him. So he's 100% right in that category. But you see, Renzo had friends. He knew it was safer. He had two guys to make sure nobody came and pulled the knife or did something crazy like that. It's still a dangerous situation. But Renzo did not initiate. The other guy threw the headlock and they went to the ground because of the other guy. Renzo, as quickly as he could, took control of the situation. The idea that somebody is going to attack you and you need to square up and box with them, I think is just misplaced. I think that's more of a mutual combat, declared mutual combat type situation. Two guys are like, okay, like we don't like each other. We're going to fight each other. We're going to have an argument and fight. And we're going to settle it that way. That's a different scenario. That's a different scenario because it's not self-defense. It's a fight. It's a fight. It's an unsanctioned, unregulated amateur competition. That's what it is. Two guys, yeah, we're just going to fight. That's what we're doing. People break the rules in those types of situations, and you get guys who jump in, girlfriends who try to get involved, all kinds of stuff. Guys maybe start cheating. Maybe you were just going to box. Now the guy's got a knife. He's got a weapon. That's a different scenario. It's a different scenario than self-defense. 100% self-defense. That's still, in my opinion, that's still a level of sport. It's still sport. You're still sports fighting because there's no reason you have to fight that person. You could leave. One time, I do recommend striking and not forcing clinch and not getting into any type of grappling situation is if there are multiple attackers. If you have two guys, three guys moving towards you. I have another learn to fight video where there's a guy who is confronted and accosted by like a group of like 5 or 6 guys. He's walking down the sidewalk, New York, and then they start messing with him, hitting him, trying to attack him. He did a great job continuing creating space. He didn't really engage. He threw punches every once in a while to back them up because when they got too close, he did a good job of stacking them because that's what you want to do. Is there's two guys, you want to move your position so that those guys stack up on each other. Right? It makes them kind of one person. In that situation, multiple tacklers, you need to stack, try to get away. If you can't get away, you attack the first guy as hard as you can. Hit him as hard as you can, drop him as hard as you can. Deter everybody else from messing with you. Everybody, if the other guy and the other 3 guys or whatever see that guy drop, there's a good chance they're going to think twice about continuing their attack. So in that situation, yes, but most times just get away. If you can't get away, you're probably going to need to force clinch and take control of the situation. Because if you're just boxing, there's such a high risk of you getting hit and getting knocked out, especially bare knuckled. You have such a high risk of hitting somebody else with your hand and breaking your hand. And now you're in a self-defense situation with one hand. Dangerous. I have other reasons why I say it's better. We'll get to those in a minute. Let's finish this off.
If you try to wrestle somebody, your black belt isn't as good as the blade he's got in his pocket. Stay away from wrestling. I don't like, and I like Jon Fitch, super cool guy. But when
I have to agree with that. He's 100% right. I am a super cool guy.
He thinks jiu-jitsu is the best like self-defense martial art.
The reason I say jiu-jitsu is the best self-defense is this, okay? The reason jiu-jitsu is the best self-defense is because it's the safest to practice. It is the easiest for a person to go to 5 days a week and do hard at 100% and not get hurt. I don't see that. I don't see that with wrestling. And if we go in and we go 100% 5 days a week wrestling for an hour or 2 hours of practice, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt a lot. You're going to get beat up. Your neck's going to hurt. Your leg's going to hurt. Things are going to get twisted because wrestling's just 2 hunks of meat slapping into each other, right? And throwing each other down on the ground. It's rough. Same thing with boxing. If you're going to boxing 5 days a week and sparring at 100%, you're going to get some brain damage. You're going to get some whiplash. You're going to get hurt your neck. You're going to have problems. You're going to have issues. You can't do it. So there is a limitation with how hard you can train and how much pressure you can put yourself under in that situation. You're going to have a really hard time putting yourself under the same amount of pressure in a boxing workout as you do in jiu-jitsu every single day. Another thing you can do with jiu-jitsu is you get to work on scenarios. You get to train specific scenarios. I can put somebody in mount and make them escape mount for an hour. I can put them in side control. I can put them in an armbar or a triangle and make them fight out of it hard for an hour. You can't do a lot of that with boxing. It's a little bit limited. I'm not saying it's bad. I think you need a mix of a lot of things. You need a mix. You need mixed martial arts, mixed self-defense. There is no one style other than Fitch SMASH that puts it all together. When you want to learn the best martial art for self-defense, that's it. It's the one. You come here. That's the point. I know. You need some striking. You do. But you need to know how to grapple. You have to know how to clinch. Let's finish.
Absolutely no way, because the world isn't fair. Someone's friend is going to step on your head while you're wrestling with them. That guy's going to pull a knife and stick it into your lung while you're wrestling with him. No, punch, stay on your feet, run away.
So he did get that part right. He's 100% right. He's saying punch, get away, punch, get away. I think that's a misunderstanding of things. Punch, get away is not the same to me as boxing, learning boxing. We're both in agreement. Get away. We're both in agreement. Get away. Leave. You don't need to be there. You don't need to fight him. The way we're getting away. He just wants to hit him once and get away. I'm thinking, don't hit him at all and get away. And if they pin you in a place where you can't just get away, don't trade with them, because who knows who's going to land the punch. Maybe that guy's a really good boxer. Maybe he's way better than you. Maybe he hits harder than you. Maybe he's got a steel chin. Why play? I don't care what kind of chin he's got or how strong he is. If I know how to clinch and I know how to grapple and manipulate him, it doesn't matter. The knife thing is true. It's important, and you need to understand that. And understanding the proper way to hand fight and control an opponent, that makes a difference. One of the things that we were learning with the C4C PJJ, which is the police jiu-jitsu seminar that I went to, this is a program created by a 25-year Las Vegas police officer. And he started doing jiu-jitsu when he started his police work. Okay, so he's 25 years he's been doing jiu-jitsu. He knows how to grapple. He knows how to wrestle. He's seen this. He's had people pull the knives on him. He is the same ideology of me, of forcing that clinch. They're in a little bit different situation because they're trying to make an arrest. They don't have to just run and flee. They have to engage in the fight. But they are still using clinch work, the same type of clinch work that I teach, the same type of stuff that I use. They made some really cool statements about collar tie and how they don't like teaching collar ties to guys in jiu-jitsu, not jiu-jitsu, but in the police, because it's a very useful technique. But in order to get good at it, it takes a lot of practice. And a lot of these guys don't have that much time to practice their techniques. They just don't. They're undertrained. They're really undertrained. It's wild. It's wild how undertrained these police officers are. They don't want to come here, because what happens is a lot of guys is they go to the plum choke, but they don't do the plum choke right, and they're in too close. And what happens is now the criminal can reach their tool belt. They can reach the police officer's tool belt. They also have their hands free, so they can reach into their own waistband, and that's where their knives and stuff usually are. So they were getting away from that plum choke that you see in Muay Thai a lot. Not because it's a bad technique, because it takes time to master that technique. And most of these guys are not going to learn it in a short period of time. So they're going to end up putting themselves in a bad situation and get hurt. So they don't teach it to them. I understand now. I didn't think this through before, but that plum choke can be bad for self-defense. It's almost like if you do get there, you've got to rotate them out and get to the outside and get to your frame first. Because then you can start seeing and have more vision and know how to react in case they do start reaching for their belt, their little razor blade or whatever they got tucked in their underwear. So it's a little gentleman's disagreement. If you can't flee, you need to control the situation. I can control the situation. I can put that guy's hands on the mat, push him away. If he fights putting his hands on the mat, I'll take him the other way and push him. Either way, what I'm doing is I don't want to trade punches. I don't want to be trading punches with the guy. So if I can't get away, but I'm stuck in a striking range and he's going to hit me, I've got to cover. I've got to force myself into that clinch, and I got to go to work to isolate elbows, isolate his ability to attack the waistline and attack and pull a weapon. And I have to discombobulate, right? I have to mess up his balance, pulling him forward, moving around, make him react to my movement so he can't do what he's doing. If I get a good 2-on-1 control and he's digging for his belt with one hand, I can snap him around. I can snap him to the ground If he fights that, I can push him, take him the other direction. There's a lot of stuff that I can do as opposed to standing in the pocket and trading punches. If I'm standing in the pocket and trading punches, there's a good chance I'm going to get hit. If I get hit, maybe I just get grazed in my eye. Now I can't see. Maybe I hit him hard in the forehead and now my hand's broke. Now I'm fighting with one hand. No, sorry. Boxing is not the best martial art for self-defense. It's a necessary component, but it's not the best and it's not the only. You also need to know some wrestling. You need to know how to hand fight. You need to know how to hand fight. I don't care if you have a good double leg or a single leg. That's not important. A double leg and a single leg are not important in self-defense. They're not. Sorry if that hurts anybody's feelings, but they're not. But clinch work, you bet your ass it is. If I can control elbows, if I can pass wrists, if I can dig underhooks, that's important. That's what's necessary. That's what's really needed. And then jiu-jitsu is just another element of giving you tools to fight with from your back, because you may fall down. You may get pushed. You may end up on your back when you don't want to be there. And you need tools to fight, because boxing ain't going to do shit if you're laying on your back. It's not going to help. Wrestling's not going to help. Your back arch, we got one move from our back in wrestling, back arch. That's not going to cut it. That's not going to cut it on the street. We're going to need to know how to shrimp. We're going to need to know how to sweep. We need to be able to attack ankles, up kick. There's things that we got to do to be able to fight from our back in case we fall down. That is a reality. That is a harsh reality. So you need it. You need all three. You need all three. So which martial art is the best to learn? None of those on their own. You need something that condenses them into something easy to understand and follow and systematic. You guys need to book me for a seminar. Show you the way. But we're on the same page. We're on the same page. Get away. Get out of there. You don't know what that guy's got. You don't know who his friend is. You don't know what his friend's got. It's just not worth it. Street fighting is stupid. It's dumb. I say it's dumb, and I guarantee you ask him, they're going to say it's dumb. It's not worth it. You're going to get stabbed. You're going to get hurt, or you're going to get sued. They don't want to lose their Bugattis and their McLarens and whatever knots because they hit some guy who was talking smack. It's just not worth it. Just get out of there. You want to fight? Go to the gym, man. You want to fight? Go to the gym. Simple measures against serious hostiles.